Hey guys and gals, thanks for checking out my YouTube channel again. It's the LG channel. I am Corey, the latest YouTube personality. I really do appreciate you guys watching my videos, and hopefully you're getting inspired or learning something new from them. If not, stop watching them, I guess, but if so, cool. As you know, in other videos, I talk a wide range of topics, but today I'm going to sort of zero in on finance again, and more specifically investing. I was like, well, what should I talk about in terms of investing on my channel? Because I'm going to talk a lot about that. I've actually written a book on investing, and I'll share details and information and tips and stuff from that. But right now, I wanted to talk about what I think is probably the number one question for somebody who has not invested any money at this point. So maybe you're the type of person who you have all cash, or you have something invested, but you've never actually done anything with it yourself. You've never actually managed the money, right? Um, this is the number one question, and it is: if I invest my money, Corey, can I get it when I need it? Can I get cash when I need it? So if I invest my money, can I get cash out when I want it, right? Or when I need it? And the answer is pretty easy. It's yes, but, right? Dot, dot, dot. Yes, but. It depends on your investment vehicle, and basically what you're talking about here when you say, okay, I want to do some investing, Corey. That's awesome. I'm super stoked now, but I'm scared that I will want to pull my money out, right? Well, this is a risk, okay? This is a risk, and you will be investing based on emotion, and I don't suggest doing that. But that's okay, okay? Because it's good that you want to invest, and that's fine. But let's take the emotional side out of this first of all, okay? So what you're talking about here is being liquid. What you want to do is have investments that are liquid, which is basically allows you to get cash and have a certain amount of liquidity where you're not stuck on an investment that you can't get out, right? You can't get your money out. And so there are accounts that are the buts, right? But there's certainly one account that nails them, or a couple of accounts where you'll definitely be able to get your money out. A bank. You can put your money in a bank and get your money out whenever you want, right? Unless there's maybe a limit on the balance, you might get charged a fee, but still you'll have access to the money, okay? Um, there's a few different investment vehicles that are pretty common that I'm going to talk about in this channel. First, I'm going to talk about the but, the limits and the restrictions. Then I'm going to talk about the best account for liquidity, in my opinion. And of course, the third part, how I myself stay liquid, and my sort of approach or strategy or methodology or whatever you have on how I stay liquid, or in my strategy for that. So the first but, limits and restrictions, right? So if you've got like a 401k or an IRA, you can likely take money out before the full retirement age of this account, which you're going to want to pay attention to, which it might actually be like 55, or some accounts might be 50. The full retirement age is an age where you're going to be able to take your money out, withdrawal, tax or penalty free, I should say, not potentially tax free. It depends on what account you have. It's a tax advantage account or a tax disadvantage account, but you still might be able to take your money out for a fee before their maximum or minimum age restriction, right? So if their minimum age restriction on the account, say it's a Roth IRA, it's 55. You want to get your money out before then. You can take a loan out against your account to get your cash if you need that, when you need that. I don't recommend doing that. That positions you in you're taking money out of the market, okay? So it's not working for you. If the market experiences gains in the time that you've taken your loan out, and anticipating, say you want to take a $10,000 loan out, and you're like, I'm going to repay this loan within 3 months, I know. So I'm going to meet their guidelines and take this loan out against my account and repay it. Well, you're missing out on 3 months. If you have a good 3 months in the market, Maybe you have a bad 3 months, but maybe it's a good one, and like the market rises 10%. You've missed out on those gains taking your loan out. So the whole strategy with the stock market and investing is time in the market. Start as early and as often as you can, and put as often as you can. Right. This is part 3 of the video. I'll get into the part of my strategy. Um, Number 2, what's the best account for liquidity? This is the second part of the video, and it's a simple answer: a brokerage account. If not your bank account, right? If you want a liquid account, get a brokerage account. You can open up Fidelity, Vanguard, which I would recommend. They don't pay me; I don't endorse them, but there's reasons for that. Okay. Open a brokerage account, put some cash in there, fund the account basically is what you're doing. And you will then be able to sell, buy securities, ETFs, index funds, what have you, through these accounts, and you'll be liquid. You'll be able to pull your money out when you want, right? Now, if you buy, say, Apple stock in this account or an ETF like a VOOG, which is an ETF, you look these tickers up, Apple, and you experience maybe some gains, but then you realize you need the cash, and you put like 10 grand in there, and all of a sudden it's gained 10%. Now you've made your $100 is going to be taxable. So my point here is, if you need to take a loan out, that selling that security could create a taxable event, which means it's more on top of a potential fee. So this is why you never try not to borrow against your investments. You just keep your investments in the market investing. That's the advice here, is to keep them in and keep, by design, a certain amount of liquidity in just a bank account, or using my strategy, which I'll tell you about later. But the brokerage account is actually really the best account for liquidity, of course, besides the bank account. That's highly liquid, but it's not going to earn anything, if much. You can get a certificate of deposit. That might be a 12-month term, or a 24-month term, or an 18-month term. And that means that it'll guarantee you a rate. They're not great right now. Maybe you can get them 1.5% on 2 years if you're lucky, which is better than getting nothing in your checking account, right? So if you know that you have cash that you won't need today and won't need until 2 years, and want a guaranteed rate of a 1.5%, then look at a CD, a certificate of deposit. That's a low risk, but again, you're not going to be able to get it out within. If you do want it out, you'll take a penalty. Okay. So my strategy is basically to keep as minimal liquidity as possible without sort of going outside of my risk comfort zone. Okay. And what is my risk comfort zone? You can Google this all you want, or YouTube, and check out other videos. But it's basically how much money you would need to cover your expenses for a few months if something happened and you were to lose income or something, right? That's typically what the amount of liquidity is that you would minimally need, okay? Some people keep way more liquidity because they're like, I'm thinking of buying something big, and I know if I pay cash, like a house or a car, I could potentially get a better deal paying with the cash, so I want the liquidity, right? That's one benefit to having a lot of liquidity, but otherwise, you get into my strategy, which is minimum liquidity, okay? I put as much money as I can into the stock market or real estate. I do invest some money into my business and my cost of living and everything, but I put as much money as I can into the stock market first. If it's doing well, you can't time the market, but if it's low, if the stock market's taken a little bit of a sell-off and people have sold and it's dropped, that's a good time to buy into the stock market. Buy low, right? So if you have some liquidity and the stock market takes a step back and the bear roars his head, you can capitalize by buying low. If it's a high market, maybe you don't need as much liquidity, which is what they say things are all so expensive right now, and everything's overvalued, and PEs, price to earning ratios, are crazy. But that's up for you to decide. You're the one to decide how much risk and you need, and that's really what you're deciding with liquidity. How much cash am I comfortable with, where I won't need to sell something? Now I have many different levers I can pull, so I don't actually need or require or even desire a lot of cash on hand at one time, unless I'm planning on a cash purchase. Then it's always a good deal to look at that option and have the cash available for that. So my strategy is literally, like I said, no cash at all. If you looked at my overall portfolio on real estate, you would see that the amount of cash I hold is minimal. It's not working for me in cash. It's a high risk to be carrying cash around. The bank does insure a certain amount of cash if you keep it there. Your credit union might insure some amounts, but it's not working for you. In the market right now this year, I'm up over almost 11%. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, I had, we'll just say, maybe it's $1 million in the market. Imagine if you just put your money in January and it was $1 million, and all of a sudden you've got another, basically another $100,000, basically, like, just by sitting there doing nothing. And that's the reality of some people's investing. So if you haven't invested yet, check out my video on, is investing in the stock market a good idea? Yes, it is, of course. Check that video out. You'll learn some tips there. It's similar to this format. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my video below. I hope you gained some sort of knowledge about liquidity and basically answering the question of, if I do invest money, can I get some cash out when I need it or want it? Sure, you always can, but look at the fine print. You might be facing some penalties, risks, or otherwise restraints. So know ahead of time when you're putting your money in to answer that question for yourself, right? That's going to be the first roadblock that you want to overcome to investing. You're going to realize that, okay, I have some cash, or I'm going to have some cash. What should I do with it, and how much can I put into the market? Now, should I put it all in at one time? That's an entirely different question, right? Check out my video on, okay, I just ran into a lump sum of money. Corey, how do I invest a lump sum of cash? That's certainly somebody's realistic person. If somebody in your family died and you have inheritance, or you've come through a windfall, maybe you got a big bonus at work, you sold something and you don't need to replenish it, you've got cash sitting around, check out my video on how you basically would invest a lump sum, or I've got a lump sum of cash, how should I invest it? That's going to be a great video for that, okay? But for liquidity's sake, keep enough, if you're going to buy this $50,000 Denali, then you might want to have some cash to negotiate, but they're practically giving away loans 0% these days, so, maybe cash is not the great idea for a car, Do your research, like I always say. Hopefully this video is informational for you guys. If not, don't subscribe to the channel and move on with your life, I'm sorry, but I'm going to give you valuable information that's worked for me to help build my success and create wealth for me and put me in a great position, right? So if you're into this, then subscribe to the channel. Life is good. Love you guys. Do something great today. Save a little bit more money. Just invest, put a little bit more away, right? Set a goal. Put your 1% increase into the market, where every year you're going to do 1% more. Make a minimum of 15%, okay? Set that as the goal to aim to. I want to get to 15% of my salary. I personally invest over half my salary, half my income into the market, okay? Back into the market. Imagine that, right? Some of it goes to real estate too, and I live on it just a tiny little bit, right? So if you enjoyed the video, keep subscribing. Check out my other videos on investing, and if you're into health and fitness, and or maybe you're into travel, or you just need some personal life coaching, I'm trying to hit this motivational angle and inspire you guys to do better and be better and wiser and stronger and greater, right? Because that's what we're here on the planet for, is to evolve and grow and together and just be awesome, right? So, LG guys, thanks for checking me out. We'll talk soon.